My wife laughed and said, "You'll never leave me?" She was probably right. After my accident left me using a wheelchair, Lisa became my everything. She drove me everywhere, handled all our appointments, even spoke for me at restaurants like I couldn't talk anymore. "You're so lucky I stayed," she'd remind me daily while adjusting my pillows without asking. "Most women would have left by now. I could have had any life I wanted, traveled the world, found someone whole and complete, but I chose to sacrifice everything for you." She made sure I knew how dependent I was, how impossible life would be alone. When I started physical therapy 3 months after the accident, she'd cancel my sessions behind my back without telling me. "You're not ready," she'd tell the therapist over the phone. "He gets overwhelmed easily, and I know him better than anyone. These sessions just upset him and make him depressed." I watched my progress slip away week after week, my muscles getting weaker instead of stronger. The grocery trips were the worst part of my entire week. She'd park me by the magazines like an abandoned shopping cart while she disappeared down aisles for hours, completely ignoring my requests to help choose our food or even just move to a different spot in the store. Other customers would give me those pitying looks reserved for helpless invalids who couldn't even pick their own cereal brand. She controlled absolutely everything in my daily life, my medication schedule, my doctor visits, even my phone calls. "I don't want you getting stressed by too much stimulation," she'd say, screening every single one of my messages and emails carefully. My friends stopped trying to reach me after months of Lisa saying I was sleeping or having a particularly bad day with my condition. She threw away my adaptive equipment catalogs before I could see them. "You don't need false hope filling your head," she'd explain patiently. "Acceptance is the most important part of healing properly." Meanwhile, she'd bought herself a brand new car with the insurance money, saying I didn't need transportation since I couldn't drive anyway, and it was wasteful. She made all my medical decisions without consulting me first. When doctors suggested new treatments or equipment, she'd shake her head sadly. "He's not emotionally ready for that level of independence. Maybe someday, but definitely not now." I started to believe her completely and questioned my own judgment about everything important. The isolation was suffocating beyond description. She'd moved us to a house with steps I couldn't navigate alone, claiming it was for my safety and protection. "You don't want to go out anyway," she'd say when I mentioned feeling trapped. "People stare at you. It's embarrassing for both of us." She made me feel like a burden everywhere we went together. She controlled our finances completely, saying I couldn't handle the stress of bills and budgeting anymore. When I asked to see our bank statements, she'd get visibly annoyed. "Why do you need to worry about money? That's my job now. You focus on getting better." But I never seemed to get better under her constant care. The turning point came when she threw away a letter from a disability advocacy group. "They're just trying to take advantage of vulnerable people like you," she said dismissively. But I'd glimpsed the return address and remembered it clearly. That night, while she slept peacefully, I looked them up online using voice commands on my phone carefully. Last Tuesday, she actually laughed out loud when I mentioned wanting to try adaptive sports I'd seen online. "Honey, you can barely transfer to the toilet some days without my help. Let's be realistic about your actual limitations instead of chasing impossible fantasies that'll just disappoint you more." That same night, I managed to call my sister for the first time in 8 long months. Turns out Lisa had been telling my entire family that I was too fragile for visitors and specifically didn't want phone calls because they made me emotional and set back my recovery significantly every single time. My sister arrived the next morning while Lisa was at her weekly book club meeting. We spent 3 intense hours packing everything I actually needed for independent living successfully and efficiently. I left a detailed note explaining that my disability didn't make me her prisoner or her personal charity case to manage forever and always. I'm writing this from my new accessible apartment across town. Turns out I'm way more capable than she ever let me believe. And leaving someone is much easier when you finally realize they've been the main thing holding you back this whole time, instead of helping you grow stronger and more independent at all.